What's going on, guys? Aaron from Top Tier Gaming here, and today I'm coming at you with a pretty exciting sort of discussion topic, or really just something in the game that becomes very noticeable if you play certain archetypes. I'm going to be talking about cards that we know will exist at some point, but do not currently, and there's no plan seeming to release them as just as of now. Now, there's a bunch of cards I'm going to be talking about, but there's definitely, undoubtedly, hundreds of cards I might be missing here, so if you have a favorite archetype or a card in mind that you're thinking of when it comes to this topic, leave it down below. I'll be sure to read it. You might help me, sort of realize just how many cards we're sort of missing here. And I'm not really talking about something maybe we've seen in the anime before that we don't have and it's from the anime. I'm talking about cards that, haven't been anywhere, but we know for either continuity reasons or lore reasons they will exist. So I think you'll see more of what I'm trying to talk about as we get into the video. But before we do, I want to let you guys know Discord link down below along with all of our other social media links. Also, I'm trying to climb the 10k ladder, so if you do enjoy this Yu-Gi-Oh content and you like what you see here, feel free to like and subscribe. It really helps me out and what I do here on the channel. And without further ado, let's get into this discussion, because there's a couple of cards, especially with decks I play, that we just know certain cards are going to exist. I have a picture of Chamber Dragonmaid on the screen. A lot of you are going to realize sort of where this is going when you see that card. There is, it's very obvious to see that Chamber is the only Dragonmaid that does not have her big dragon, right? So if you look at Parlor, Lorepar is the big dragon form, and you can tell because their names share Par lore. If you hadn't noticed that before, that is why the dragon names are so hard to pronounce. Maybe Tinkek is just kitchen in a rearranged order. Some people think Yugioh is actually Chamber's Dragonmaid. I've heard that a couple of times, and initially when I first got into the game I sort of thought so as well, but this is definitely House. Again, you can always tell by their name, just so clearing any of that misconception up. Every single Dragonmaid has a big dragon except Chamber. We know it will exist at some point, and it just currently doesn't. And Chamber came out in Eternity Code, which is the beginning of 2020, I believe. And so we're approaching 3 years with Chamber existing and not having a big dragon. So it's really weird when you start to think of these cards and how long are Konami gonna hold them. Konami knows that we know Chamber will get a big dragon, but they're still holding her, so they're either saving it for a set they don't think is strong enough but know they can sell because Chamber's dragon will be in it, or something like that. You guys can leave your thoughts down below again on why you think they would hold these or what they're waiting for. That, in my opinion, they also could be waiting for the next power creep level of Yu-Gi-Oh to exist. A real problem in the game is about every 4 or 5 years, sometimes less, sometimes more, there's definitely a new era of power creep where decks become obsolete because they just don't have the support, right? Think of a deck like Trap Tricks. It was unplayable past Hat until Sarah comes out, right? Because Lynx came out, there was a new power creep level that exists in the game. So they could be waiting for something like that, and then they give Chamber's big dragon, or any of the other cards I'm going to talk about in this video, to help it compete in a new era of Yu-Gi-Oh, we'll say. So you guys can leave again down below why you think they're holding these. Again, I want this to be sort of a discussion topic, because it is a really fun one, I think, because there's so many cards you could talk about here, right? So leaving Dragonmaid behind, I think it was just one of the more obvious ones to start with. Another extremely obvious one is Sky Striker. We have Ray and Rose, right? It's fine. We don't actually need any more Sky Striker Ace monsters. Now, as I'm talking about this, there is more Sky Striker support on the horizon. I have not seen many of those. I've seen the art, but I don't know what they do. I don't know how they fit in the lore. So I could be talking about something here that might already exist. But one thing for certain is, besides talking about Sky Striker Aces, we have a Light and a Dark. I think that's fine. They don't really have to make more of these. Talking about the links, okay, we have Hayate, which is wind, Kagari, which is fire, we have Kaino, which is earth, we have Shizuku, which here's the alternate art. I actually love the alternate art because it's really just Ray inside of what the armor is protecting her. I think that's really interesting. But yeah, we have Kagari, we have Zeke, which is one of the newer links, and by newer I mean this card is super old, but it came out after these, I'm 99% certain. There is no light Sky Striker Link monster, which is interesting because if you look, Zeke, it is sort of, I believe it came out with Rose. Again, I could be wrong about that. I wasn't actually playing, I don't believe, when Rose got released, and I wasn't playing in TOS format either, so I'm a little bit, out of the loop when it comes to releases of these, but I'm pretty sure these got released roughly the same time. And yeah, Zeke is cool. It's a Link 2. It's really nice. We could get a Link 2 Light. It is the only missing Link attribute for Sky Striker, so we know it will come. Again, these are cards I'm talking about that we know for continuity reasons or lore reasons that they will exist. I mean, this one's more continuity, where it's really weird if you have every attribute except for Light. Now, I thought Zeke was Rose's mech, and it's funny because it's the polar opposite of her attribute, so I wonder if Rey will get a Light, like it'll be her special mech, but these are all Rey as well. Maybe I'm just wrong in that aspect. Again, I'm not super caught up with Sky Striker lore. I love the parts that I do know. Like, I'm a big fan. I know something right now is happening with Rose in the lore, and I'm hoping that it's not something bad, because I like Rose. She's a really cool card. And yeah, so again, I'm going to try to fly through these as well. I'm not really trying to give thoughts on what the card could do, especially for an archetype like Sky Striker, where I'm not really... I haven't played a lot of the deck. I've played against it enough, right? But I don't know exactly what people think they need. Maybe a way to replace what Halki Fibrex enabled in an OTK. For Chambers Dragon, I could have gone on longer and just talked about so many things I think Dragonmaid could use out of it, but this video would end up being 30 minutes, right? Like, that's not exactly why I'm here. I'm just bringing up talking points and cards that we're missing. If you want to let me know down below what cards, like what you want them to do, like avid Sky Striker players, if you want to put a card down below on what you think the deck needs, feel free to go ahead. I would love to read those as well. I think that we could have some really interesting discussion points down in the comments below. And yeah, that's sort of Sky Striker. Another one I wanted to talk about that's pretty big is Witchcrafter. So more people have definitely been playing this deck as a fun option post Mavens, right? Because they got their awesome fusion. It's something a lot of people have been excited for a while, including me. I absolutely love Witchcrafter. I love the art. The lore is something I'm not super caught up in besides what the cards sort of portray, so maybe I need to read more into that. I saw a Reddit post like a year ago that sort of explained some of the lore, but the big one I'm talking about here, and this is sort of what the Reddit post was talking about, is Witchcrafters do not have a level 6. They have every other level under the sun. They have Jenny, they have Potirie. This is an order from level, so we have 1, 2. We have Pittore at 3, Shmieta at 4, Edel at 5, or Adele. Then we skip 6. We have Heine at, I believe, 7, Madame Vare at 8, and I believe Golomaruru is also 8, but I'm not sure they have to go to a 9, but we're missing 6, most obviously. Where's the level 6 Witchcrafter? There's been talks that maybe she is portrayed in the middle of this, and then people thought this was the level 6 vanilla fusion that came out in Ghost from the Past 2, finally for the TCG as a reprint. Oh man, I wouldn't know what her name is off the top of my head. She takes a rock monster. Let me try to find her real quick by doing this. That did not work. I thought she took a rock monster, but I was wrong, so we're just gonna go back with Witchcrafter. Wait, I don't think I typed in enter. Hold up. Nope, I'm just stupid. Okay, so yeah, back to Witchcrafter. If you know what fusion I'm talking about, great, but I don't remember her name, but I think it's Sandwich, something, not Sandwich. We're moving on, I'm rambling. But yeah, we're missing a level 6 Witchcrafter, like I've been saying, and some people, again, thought she was portrayed here. She's like, again, the Patronus, the one who like starts it all, I guess, maybe. And more importantly here, we have Vice Madam, which is the new card, and it says this: special summon 1 level 6 or lower Witchcrafter monster from your hand or deck. So not only just for, again, making sure it makes sense, why would we skip level 6 for no reason? Besides that reasoning for getting a card, this card specifically states level 6 or lower, implying sort of in the same way that we knew another Marincess spell would exist because of Sea Angel's text. Why would this say level 6 or lower if there was never going to be a level 6 Witchcrafter, right? So you could think they're definitely just holding it open for future random Witchcrafter support. But me personally, I think they have a level 6 in mind for this deck. I don't know why they're holding it or why they didn't release it with Vice Madam as support. I mean, I guess they only gave 2 cards for Sky Striker, Shiranui, and Witchcrafter inside the set where these came out, but it's really weird that they're holding some of these cards. Again, a level 6 Witchcrafter, I have so many thoughts of what Witchcrafter need. Like, I would kind of hope she's like an extender, or she could pitch herself like Necroz Bryonic to search a Witchcrafter spell. Something like that where she can be repurposed as a large level monster, but still do something really cool. Yeah, I think they have a lot of plans for this archetype as well. Some smaller ones I wanted to touch up on, not as in-depth as these, you could say, because these are decks I either play or I'm interested in. They've all been waifu decks. You know, that is what it is. I mean, Konami definitely holds stuff for the waifu decks for sure. And I mean, it makes sense from a business standpoint because people really enjoy these decks either for artwork or, you know, whatever reason. But yeah, going on to some of the smaller ones, let's talk about Trap Tricks. Now, this deck just got a huge wave of support. So this one is more like, not maybe something we know. We do know there is at least one more card in the structure deck that should be new after they showed us the field spell and all that. There should be at least one more card because there is a number missing right before bottomless, but after one of the other cards. I explained it really well in the Trap Tricks new support video I did like a month ago. But yeah, one thing I'd like to see from this is, besides knowing we're getting a trap card, it should be a trap, Trap Tricks need their own Brigandine, right? That's a big thing for Trap Tricks in particular. You take a look at, you know, Trap Tricks monsters, we'll put one on the screen. Yeah, they're missing their own Brigandine. Konami knows how Trap Tricks plays. It's not like they're obstinate to how their own decks work. Maybe they don't know how they're going to work when they release the cards and release them to the public, but once people start playing with them, they definitely realize they know Brigandine is a big part of the Trap Tricks engine. It would be so cool if we got a trap card that is searchable by Mermelio or even something else potentially that does what Brigandine does but is an engine piece. Now that would make Trap Tricks extremely good. That would make them maybe a tiered deck like tier 2. Right now I think they've always been a super powerful rogue deck if you really wanted to play them. They're a lot better than people think. And the structure deck is really nice support, but they really need their own Brigandine. So I'm hoping that's what the final card is. We know that that's coming on the way, but that's not maybe for the same reasons as the other cards. I think Ojama was one I wanted to talk about as well. I forgot which card it is. Maybe it's Country. Yeah, is it this one? I believe it's this card right here. I don't know if you guys can see it on the screen very well. It depends how my screen recorder is picking it up. But there are definitely monsters on Ojama Country we don't have. So this one, again, maybe a little more obvious. People know that we're missing Ojama cards. I think in the same vein, maybe Prank Kids people talk about a lot. Because there is this Prank Kid monster, the one on Pranks, which I think people have told me is actually not a Prank Kids monster, but just related to them. But I still think we could get this or even the dog as a monster potentially. Just sort of depends, right? I think Prank Kids actually kind of need something now that Meow's banned, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do give it something. I know we're all still, a lot of us, mostly me maybe, are still tired of Prank Kid format, and we've been out of it for like a year now, so that's interesting. Another one that was brought to my attention by a friend when I was asking him, like, hey, what other decks do you think fit in this category? And Eldritch is kind of one of them, because you have Eldritch the Mad Golden Lord that says one Eldritch monster, and we only have one. One thing I was thinking they might do is release like an Eldritch the Golden Lady, and there's like a female counterpart to Eldritch, and then there's two main deck monsters. Again, Eldritch is a deck that since the release of Bestials, I could see them also giving support eventually. I know it's a very polarizing deck. You either hate Eldritch or you really like it. I think it's a really good trap deck, and you know, as annoying as those are to play against sometimes if you're like a combo player or a mid-range player, they need to be in the game, right? There is a large part of the player base that loves playing trap decks, and Eldritch is a really easy go-to. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get something eventually. I think also the Fusion card says something like an Eldritch monster. No, okay, it just says zombie monster. So that one doesn't really call it. I guess it's the Fusion that really tells me that there should be another one. So yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about in this video. Again, I am sure there are hundreds of cards that fit this category. Things we know should be released, either because the lore says they will be, or because it wouldn't make sense if there wasn't, like the Light Sky Striker monster, right? So yeah, that's sort of what I wanted to bring up in today's video. I think it was it's a fun topic for me because it's really fun to theory craft what these cards could be. I sort of leave that up to interpretation in this video. I didn't really give a lot of what I want, but besides like maybe Trap Tricks. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below what you think of this topic. Do you have any cards in mind that you want for certain archetypes? Did I miss the card for your favorite archetype? Leave it down below. I'll be sure to read those. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been Aaron from Top Tier Gaming. Bye, YouTube.